We'll mute that. All right, good morning. Welcome in. Another Friday ECI meeting. Today is May 22nd, and we're getting ready for a Memorial Day weekend, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But before we do that, let's start off the meeting with safety. So some recent news on the safety front. We kind of had a tough week. On the incident front, it's been 3 days since our last first aid, 4 days from our last recordable, 16 days from our last vehicle incident. So kind of as we're approaching into June, let's start with a good meeting today and a good JHA after this meeting, and especially after the holiday on Tuesday, let's recenter, refocus ourselves. So we're controlling hazards out there to try to really add the frequency in between our incidents. There's a lot going on. We're very busy. So when that happens, we're going to talk a little bit about today about hazardous attitudes, and hopefully that will help with that frequency. And before we get into our topic, I wanted to quickly highlight that we are seeing a major increase in traffic law enforcement from safety seatbelt checkpoints in New York yesterday. When I was over in Rouse's Point, they were doing that. And then between Rouse's Point and then all the way back to the shop there, I must have saw at least 15 state troopers between New York side and Vermont side. So I know last week we highlighted the DOT checkpoints, but again, law enforcement as well, simple as stop signs. We've been hearing reports of people getting pulled over for rolling through stop signs, speeding. So again, do what's right, follow the rules of the road with speed, and making sure that you're following all the best practices when you're behind the wheel, because there's a big emphasis on law enforcement right now while driving. So this week, hopefully help with our frequency, like I mentioned before. I wanted to talk about 5 hazardous attitudes. We talk a lot about unsafe conditions, and we train a lot on unsafe conditions and unsafe acts. And this one really highlights kind of the unsafe acts side of the equation, how an incident or an accident occurs. Again, if you have an unsafe condition and an unsafe act, you kind of marry those together, and it's about 90% of all fatalities can kind of categorize into those 2 different categories. So we're going to really highlight on that unsafe act today. And we're going to have a quick little discussion, and we're going to probably dig down deeper into this behavior-based safety in the months coming up. So this is just that first installment with these different hazardous attitudes that I wanted to bring to everybody's attention. This is something that we can work together as a team, but really it's designed for you personally, how to conduct yourself and the decisions that you make and how you can control your attitude day in and day out, especially on the job site here in construction. So what are the 5 hazardous attitudes? We got anti-authority, impulsive, invulnerability, macho, and resignation. These psychological patterns, originally identified by the FAA and widely used in safety critical industries like aviation and construction, that degrades decision making and increases our risks. And these increasing risks could be that fatality. So again, I want everybody to kind of self-calibrate. And if you kind of fall into one of these categories lately, try to figure out how we can move outside of that attitude. And I got a couple antidotes how to help yourself not operate with these hazardous attitudes. So anti-authority, the type of mindset that you're in. Don't tell me what to do. Rules and regulations are viewed as unnecessary restrictions rather than safety guidelines. So your antidote, how to get yourself out of that mindset, is try to respect the rules. These rules are best practices to keep you safe. A lot of these rules and regulations are really written in blood. There's been a lot of fatalities, so that's why we have, cave in at 5 feet and fall protection at 6 feet. What we train at So it's not somebody telling you not what to do. We're trying to say this is how to keep you safe at work. So impulsive, big one. It's very easy to slip into an impulsive behavior. So that kind of mindset that you're in is do something quickly. The urge to do the first thing that comes to mind without considering the consequences or best course of action. Okay, you're just really operating in that um, emotional brain state when you're doing impulsive behaviors. So it's really hard to operate and to get out of that mindset. But what you have to do is engage that brain and start thinking first. So not so fast. Think first. You want to think, process. Try to think at a higher level. Get out of that emotional state that you might be in to get out of that impulsive behavior that you're operating yourself in. Invulnerability. So that mindset, it won't happen to me. The belief while accidents or emergencies might happen to other people, but you are exempt from the risk. It's kind of that Superman or cowboy instinct. So that the antidote, how to get out of that kind of mindset, it could happen to me. Start thinking again. It's at a higher level of thinking when you're getting out of that just emotional brain movement or thinking pattern is when you're trying to like think about what could potentially happen to you to hopefully help. Like it's a little life hack to get you out of that mindset. If it's like, ew, it could happen to me, I might need to put a guard on that grinder. I might need to slow down while driving or put that phone down, whatever it may be. That you are vulnerable when it comes to construction hazards, and your behavior can dictate what could happen to you down the road. Macho, the mindset, I can do it. I can do it. I'll show them. The desire to prove one's superiority or bravery by taking foolish and unnecessary risks. So the antidote there again is kind of getting out of that mindset a little bit, and taking on unnecessary risks is foolish. The more you take on unnecessary risk, the more likely you are of endangering yourself or somebody else. Again, it's a frequency, and it's just a matter of time. It's kind of like gambling. When you're macho and you're constantly putting yourself in a dangerous situation, it's just a matter of time that you're not going to be able to escape that environment without getting hurt. And the last one is resignation. That mindset, what's the point? A feeling of helplessness and a belief that you have no power to change a situation, leading you to give up or let others make decisions for you. The antidote there is you're not helpless. I'm not helpless. I can make a difference. And a lot of that is that speak up and say something mentality that we've been kind of preaching and talking about. Don't just give up. If you see somebody doing something a little unsafe or you see a dangerous situation arise, trust that gut instinct that Ben talks about a lot on some of these topics. Don't let others dictate what you think is right in your beliefs. Step up and say something. Usually that's all it takes is someone to say, maybe we should put a trench box in. And then, oh yeah, you're right. And then bang, we're doing the right thing versus the wrong thing. And lastly, I want to leave it with a very famous safety quote on behavior-based safety is watch your thoughts, they become your words. Watch your words, they become your actions. Watch your actions to become your habits. Watch your habits, they become your character. Watch your character, it becomes your destiny. And that's the integrity piece that we talk about a lot in the code of conduct. And these 5 hazards attitudes are really for you and yourself, how to operate oneself in construction. Because if you have these hazardous attitudes, you may not be in construction for a very long time because it's going to lead to that potential fatality that we're all trying to avoid. That's what I have for you today. Ben, feel free to chime in if you have any talking points.
Yeah, we use these in aviation, and I think about these things like every day. And the ones I always follow is that coincides with this is follow the rules is number 1. Think before you do is number 2. Be vigilant is number 3. Don't take chances is number 4. And number 5 is believe in yourself. So those all equate exactly to your antidotes.
Yep.
Antidote.
Yeah, we got
Antidotes.
you. Yeah.
to the hazardous attitudes. Yeah. Actually, believe it or not, these things are actually listed on the FAA exams for getting a lot of your pilot certifications.
Yeah, that's where it originated. I was doing a bunch of research on it last night. Thought it was interesting.
Yep. Good stuff. It's in the code, and we talk about it every week, and we have it at every roundtable. All these same concepts. It's funny how they repeat themselves. I'm going to see if I can share. Let me know that when my screen comes up.
Yep, I see it.
We got it.
Okay. Hopefully my computer won't crash. It's done it once this morning. I don't know why. All right. 5 hazardous attitudes. This next upcoming code of conduct item is work in an environmentally conscientious manner. So be responsible, be careful, be diligent, and take care of our environment for yourself and your future generations. Ownership topic this week. How can we maximize our impact? Prove your worth every day. I one time talked with Alan Pigeon and I said, hey, Alan, don't you appreciate, what I've done, because I always focused on all my accomplishments. And he said, yeah, I appreciate what you did yesterday. And that's great. And I paid you for it. But what I need is what you're going to do tomorrow and today. That's what I need you for. I always remembered that. Coming to work every day, we want to think about how we're going to make a difference and how we're going to make an impact. And we spend all these hours working. We got to make a difference for ourselves and feel good about what we do. So proving your worth at work, it means showing up every day, ready to work hard and make a difference. It's about being responsible, dependable, and being committed to doing your best. Plan your day and focus on everything that matters the most and take ownership of your work by do them correctly and do them on time. When things come up, step in and find a solution instead of waiting for someone else to act. Be supportive to your team and everyone around you, and stay positive and accountable and reliable in everything you do. People are going to trust you when you follow through and they know that they can count on you. So remember to stay humble and not let your ego get the best of you and strut around thinking that you're the best, because past successes should never cause you to look down on the others or to be the reason why you stop improving. So strong work ethic, positive attitude, willingness to keep learning, and build a reputation for yourself that other people are going to respect. And that's part of being on the team. So remember, all these things we talk about every week, I packed a whole bunch of them into this one. I don't know how I did it so fast, but it didn't take long. But this is the essence of what we do every day, is we come to work proving our worth. So as employee owners, we're all going to play a part in creating a strong and successful workplace here at ECI. But when we work hard and we support each other and we keep improving every day, we're going to help everyone else succeed. So prove your worth. And thanks for doing so. Equipment focus. We get the long weekend coming up. So I got a little note here about the fact that historically on long weekends, we've had thefts. We've had, people damaging our equipment and stealing tools and even stealing our vehicles. Take the keys out, lock the trailers, lock the fuel tanks. We already talked about that a few weeks back. Secure everything. If you can bring things back here to the yard, if you can hook up to them and bring them here, they're probably safer here than they are out on a job site. And just make a strong effort to protect our stuff.
Yeah, real quick, I have an extra camera with me right now, so if anybody needs one for their sites this weekend, just let me know.
Yep. That way we can see what they did to us, right?
Yeah, pretty much. I'll report online.
Yeah. Yeah, I always cringe on coming in here after a holiday and going around just seeing what could have happened. So Memorial Day holiday is Monday, which we already said it's a long weekend. I've got instructions here just in case anyone needs them, how to enter your time for the holiday entry. It's job 14, cost code OH14 and earn code HOL. So have a good and meaningful and reflective Memorial Day. So just so happens this year, Memorial Day is actually on the 25th of the month. Kevin Sheehan, some of you remember Kevin. I know us that have been here, that were here when Kevin was here. We always remember this day. He was a project engineer here. He lived in Milton. He was a member of the National Guard. He loved his family, his work, and his country. Kevin, he was deployed to Iraq. He got called out in, I think it was October, November. He got the word right after he re-upped for the Guard, and he went to Iraq. He got trained as an MP, and he was an artillery person, but they trained him to be an MP, and he was attacked, and while escorting a detail. Several people, including Bean and some others from Vermont, were killed on that same day in that same incident. I still remember I was coming in this door between Jim McNall and Ronnie Johnson's office when Ken Pigeon called me after he got the word. You always remember where you were when something happened. He left his two kids, Nathaniel and his daughter Allie, and that was a tough time for us. Here's a picture of him. You see it out in the front. He was a great guy. He was always messing around with us and having fun. Another great friend of Kevin's is Todd Nelson. So hope I should have put a box of Kleenex next to his desk today if he's watching this. There's the memorial down. There's some pictures below here of the memorial down in Randolph, and Kevin's name is there, as well as where you'll see later at the memorial in at the Five Corners. There's some stuff about him at the rest area in Sharon. I think that's what this thing on the left, this plate is. The picture of him when he left the last day right there on the right. And if you come in the front of 98, you'll see Kevin's picture and a replica of the insert that we have in over at the park in Essex at Five Corners. And I have a flag in my office if anyone wants to see it, that was flown by our Air National Guard. Lethal Lady was one of our F-16s. And I've got that certificate for anybody that'd like to see it. So on Memorial Day, we want to think about Kevin and his family, and think about all the people that didn't come home, protected our freedom. We got a new employee this week, Leo Benway, paving. It's really awesome to get more pavers. So good to meet you, Leo, earlier this week. I hope you're watching. I didn't get your personal email, so you did not get this email, but I'll get it and I will forward this issue to you. This week we're going to revisit one. I don't know if Jeremy, if you're on.
Yeah, I'm here.
So we did a project over the winter, and I think now it's kind of finally completed. We slid one in here to remind everyone of this project up in St. Albans, and I don't know if you want to read it or paraphrase it, but it's kind of up to you. You can paraphrase if you'd like. Everyone can read the whole thing, but I'll leave that up to you.
Yeah, I can kind of go through it quickly.
Yep.
Bear with me. I got a pretty nasty head cold last night, so
Oh,
voice is a little shaky this morning. So, so yeah, like Mr. Dow said, we've already kind of gone through this one, but now that it's finished, we'll go through it again. So ECI was contracted by the town of St. Albans to construct a new stormwater collection system and gravel wetland in the Clyde Allen Drive neighborhood in St. Albans. Project consisted of installing 500 feet of 18-inch diameter storm pipe, 6 precast manholes, and a new gravel wetland with a liner. The project had a funding deadline in early March, so we were in a pretty tight time constraint to get the road crossings complete and repaved this winter. The pipe run crossed a dozen or more utilities, including multiple gas lines, power lines, sewers, water, and comm lines. And parts of the excavation were extremely deep, especially under the west side of the road, requiring double stack trench boxes in pretty nasty soil conditions. The pond was 50 by 150 feet, and it had a 30 mil poly liner on the bottom of it that was extremely heavy, extremely slippery. The day that we did it, it was snowing, and that made it even more slippery. So we had to use 2 excavators and mule tape to kind of stretch the thing out. One of the primary challenges of the project was the poor weather conditions we experienced, and it was also snowing almost every single day up there, adding moisture to the soil that was already pretty poor and difficult to work with. I mentioned there was also a lot of utilities in the ground. A lot of places the utilities were so close together that we couldn't get a trench box in, and we had to slope those way back to make a safe excavation. There was also a lot of utilities that the town did not even know were in the area that we crossed and ultimately hit and had to repair. There was an underdrain collection pipe that had been broken by a homeowner, and it had been dumping water for years from 8 or 10 houses right directly into the soil where we were crossing with stormwater pipe, and it just made that area extremely saturated and difficult to work in. The window to pave closed before we were ready to pave the road crossings. So the paving crews pulled mix out of Massachusetts between Christmas and New Year's, and we got the road back open, and it was able to be plowed this winter. This spring, we returned to complete the project, including performing all of the restoration, repaving, and a couple of the paved areas had settled over the winter due to the fact that we were forced to pave over some frozen material. And our subcontractor, Lafayette, installed the chain link fence around the pond. And the crews did a great job making the site look extremely professional and neat. And the owner was happy, and the homeowners were happy, and I think it was the project looks extremely good. So this is a picture of the conditions that we were dealing with when we were stretching the liner out. Those liners are extremely slippery and they're hard to manage. So it was a challenge. Another picture of some of the conditions up there. This is one of the road crossings. Yeah, I mean we dealt with constant snow and freeze thaw cycles. There's a bunch of utilities, a sump pump going because of how much groundwater there was. We got a steel I-beam to support some of the utilities. Another picture. This is one of the concrete manholes. Some of the guys working hard to get that backfilled. Another picture of multiple utilities crossing in a extremely close distance to each other.
Those actually appear to be unbroken.
I think those are unbroken. I think we only broke one that was actually marked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's always
Never
fun,
talk about the ones that we don't hit.
right?
Yeah.
I've stuck
And
a couple extra pictures that I found in here. Yeah.
yeah, most of them were direct bury, and yeah, it was a challenge digging in frozen conditions. Another picture of the pond. This is kind of us spreading that liner out. And another picture of the pond kind of taking shape on that lower side. Prepping for road crossing. There was a couple late nights trying to get across the road.
There's your Massachusetts mix going down.
Massachusetts mix, and Daryl and his guys were out there paving it. And this is there's a few pictures of the finished product. Greg and his guys did a great job. Looks extremely professional and nice and neat. This is a finished product of the pond this spring. Lafayette did a great job on the fence. The fence looks great.
It's cool. Awesome. Well, another job well done. Thanks to everyone that worked on the job. Thanks, Jeremy, for slipping this one in there and putting it together for us. And I hope you feel better soon. Don't come near any of us today.
Nah. We'll be out on site most of the day, so
So, this is from the archives, and we talked about Kevin up above back in 2021, 2022, 2001 and 2, a couple of years before Kevin was killed. We got a design build project to build Veterans Memorial Park, which is the fountain out there at the Five Corners. And I put together these out of my old photos. Some of them aren't the greatest quality, but we did that job in cooperation with ST Griswold back in the day, putting this thing together. I think Paul Sabrin the second, not the third, the second, is probably one of the people that I know here today that was present for that whole project. And that fountain, whenever I see it, I know that Paul Sabrin, shout out to Paul Sabrin, who did all the piping, and it was all PVC glued piping to make that fountain run. And they claim that they've never had a leak or a problem with that plumbing. So good job, Paul. Here we are with the footings. That was all a round circular foundation system that I laid out with a transit and a steel tape. I didn't use a total station on that. It was all steel tape. I laid everything out myself on that one. That was interesting. The curved walls, the footings. You'll see our guys, and then you'll see some Griswold guys in there too, because we kind of worked together on this project. Was a fun one. We created this whole foundation system, and the original intent was to put granite on it, but they ran out of money, and they ended up putting panels that were simulated to look like what the granite panels were. And I always think that someday it would be really cool to go and redo that fountain, all the exposed surfaces, and put actual real granite on there. But there's quite a system underneath that fountain when you look at it to see how it's put together. So the left-hand picture is proof of a young Paul Sabrin too, doing all the plumbing and all the things for the fountain. So there's the proof right there. A lot of plumbing, a lot of piping, and we got that thing together, and it was really meaningful. Kevin Sheehan did all the CAD work on that, and it was a design build. We never built a fountain before. But it was crazy when we placed his monument at something that he built. So I thought that would be a good thing to show this week. There's the fountain when we first fired it up the first day. There's the jets on the left. There's the fountain on the right. And then there's our friend standing next to his fountain. Good job, Paul, and everyone else that worked on this. And I hope everyone has a good weekend with friends and family and reflection on people that have gone before us. Put an article in here. Very young Ken Pigeon over there on the right. So I'm gonna leave it with this photo and turn it over to Matt Orzak and Tom Pigeon to close this day out. The meeting out, I mean, not the day.
Yeah,
Let's keep
have a
working.
great day. Have a safe day. Make sure that we're securing everything well at the end of the day, and have a safe weekend.
See
Raise those
everybody.
flags proudly.
Yeah. And a good job on the emergency last night. Whoever was there, if you're on this morning, it was, I went home and they were just getting started. And when I came in, they were all done. It was all cleaned up.
Yeah. Please
Have a good
kick
day.
over attendance, because I'm not going to be texting a bunch of people because I don't know who is actually awake right now. So.
Okay. Good job. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.